he introduced the programs that destroyed the Nigerian economy. But because we are not able to connect one and two, we believe that it's either Buhari or Tinubu that just came yesterday. Tinubu is just carrying on from what Buhari did now. Tinubu has not even done anything yet. Let them wait until the second time. Tinubu has not done anything yet. See, don't get me started.
No, go on, please. Go on.
If you want to, if you really want to know about the worst president we've had, please pay attention to IBB's presidential term.
According to you, do you really think that Ibrahim Babangida is the worst president of all time in Nigeria, and why?
Ask Nigerians now, who was the most terrible president we've had? People will point at Buhari, right? Because he had 2 times, he served for 2 times, and then he destroyed the country 2 times, right? And I was talking to my video editor, and we're just joking around it, and he said that this man, all the policies he brought during his first time as military head of state were the exact thing he repeated as democratically elected president. 1983 and then 2015. He didn't learn anything new, right? People are going to point at Buhari. Some are going to point at Abacha. But these are emotional arguments. Emotional arguments. No facts whatsoever backing that up. The one single human being that ruined this country the most is still alive. IBB. Ibrahim Babangida.
You know what? It's like you read my mind. Because that was my next question.
Okay.
That was my next question. Now, who is the? Because I asked David this, and it's very funny you've arrived to that conclusion. Because I asked David, who is the worst and best president according to you in Nigeria? He said the worst is Ibrahim Babangida. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. The comments went crazy, and I've done 2 interviews with him. That was the first one, where he's wearing the Ghana shirt. The comments went crazy. I'm telling you, people were saying, "How can he say it's Babangida? It has to be Tinubu. It has to be Buhari. It has to be." Many people were saying Tinubu and Buhari. That's where people were, but very few people were agreeing with him by saying it's IBB. Now, according to you, do you really think that Ibrahim Babangida is the worst president of all time in Nigeria, and why?
When I was doing Power and Plunder, I told people, because people were asking me this question on X, I told them I was not going to bring my opinion in until the series was over. Some thought I was going to pick Abacha because of course, the Abacha loots and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah. Abacha loots is a very interesting topic because I covered it in depth and I saw a lot of things that the family did, terrible things. And then the human rights violations and all that. But when you look at the economic side of things, also, I like to tell people to try and watch videos objectively, right? Watch to the end, listen to what the person is saying, and not just emotional arguments and blah, blah, blah. Abacha built roads. Abacha created, what's it called now? This petroleum, is it petroleum trust fund or something? And the money were used to develop the country. So there were savings, right, from Nigerian crude oil sales that went into the development of the country. And yes, the country was facing lots of sanctions from America and their allies at the time. So there were lots of ways they tried to bypass those sanctions. But that is not to excuse Abacha loot. Yes, Abacha loot happened. People returned money, and that was how I was sure that yes, some loot happened. Although the figure, I can't put a pin on it because whatever is being reported now has some form of thought added to it here and there. People run with stories, and we have problem with numbers in this side of the world. So yeah, but Abacha loot did happen. However, when you talk about deliberate destruction of this country, you need to watch my IBB episode. I don't know if people paid attention closely toward the end. Um, you know what 12 is it $12 billion? You know what $12 billion mean? 12 billion
Wow.
that is unaccounted for. Hmm?
Wait. 12 billion, wait, 12 billion nairas or 12 billion dollars, US dollars?
Who is talking about naira? Dollars. I'm not saying, see, like I told you, I'm in Nigeria, so I have to be very careful. But ask anybody, it was from the time of IBB that doctors started leaving Nigeria. This Jakpa you hear of, it started from the time of IBB. You can quote me
Ah,
anywhere, do your research.
Japan. Yes. Oh, it was on IB. Oh.
Mhm. And I know Nigerians, some of them will come for me, but you can do your research and check. It started under IBB. The country worked so well until IBB. Things, yes, things have never been perfect since the history of Nigeria. There were always trouble here and there, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as it came with the structural adjustment programs, in fact, even the CIA praised him that they didn't know that if any other person had done it any other way, that there would have been revolt and a coup to remove him from power. That he was so smart the way he executed it. The CIA said this thing I just said.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Wow.
They were full of praises for the way he did it. That is the way he enacted the structural adjustment program. He made it like it was the decision of Nigerians. So when people call him the Maradona, the blah blah blah, and then they hail him, Nigerians don't know what they are doing. It's just emotions and emotions, not willing to pay attention to the facts of the case. He introduced the programs that destroyed the Nigerian economy. The 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 subsidies that were removed, the okay, the collapse of our education system, of our hospitals, it all started under him. But because we are not able to connect one and two, we believe that it's either Buhari or Tinubu that just came yesterday. Tinubu is just carrying on from what Buhari did now. Tinubu has not even done anything yet. Let them wait until the second time.
Mm.
Tinubu has not done anything yet. Now, I don't want to quote wrong figures, but from the summary given from how some monies were spent, yeah, just go through that video. You see that a certain amount, is it $9,000 or $9 million? I can't be very sure, but nine, something, either thousand or million, was spent on television in the presidential palace.
Whoa, come on. Come
Mhm.
on. Come on, Jude.
So,
On
okay.
televisions.
I wish I could just go through the documents and show you some things. See, don't get me started.
No, go on,
Anybody that
please.
wants,
Go on,
if
please. Oh my
if
God.
if you want to, if you really want to know about the the worst president we've had, please pay attention to IBB's presidential term. He okay, the whole Abiola episode. right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew Abiola was never going to be allowed to be president. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
He knew Abiola was never going to be allowed to be president of the country, but he allowed the elections go ahead anyway. Do you understand? So this this man orchestrated for the gang. There was one gang. I'm trying to pull up his episode to show you something. There was one group that started campaigning for him to remain in power. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
he sponsored them?
Oh, really?
Yes, he sponsored them. So this is a guy that he just wanted to remain in power indefinitely. Um, Hi. I'm trying to be very careful. There was a podcast I was on, and
Mm-hmm.
I said some things, and when the episode was sent to me, I forwarded it to my lawyer, and when he went through, he said, "Jude, no, 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 that he cannot defend this." I said, "But there are documents." He said it wasn't proven in court. So everything from it, it's extraordinary. And the thing is, Abiy wanted to come back as president. That's during
Yes.
democracy. That
Uh-huh.
was one of the reasons why we had Obasanjo. It's sort of like a deal. Obasanjo was supposed to step down, right? Abiy was supposed to come back as Nigeria's democratically elected president. I think in 2003, but
Mm.
it didn't work out. So you will see I think from that period when Obasanjo was running for second term, there was a split between Obasanjo and IBB. Then IBB started saying a lot of things about Obasanjo from then on.
Mm.
Otherwise, he was one of the architects of the Obasanjo coming to be president, from everything I could gather when researching for my video on this. So this man, okay, how about the coups, right? How about the coups that he was involved in? He brought in Buhari and then removed Buhari. Um, and most of the reasons for the coups that were carried out during his time were not particularly to save the country from the economic crisis. It was that this person is now going off script. You know, we brought you to power and then you are trying to like deviate from the original plan. Then they strike. 12.2 billion. That's the figure.
Oh, you mean from, oh, wow.
So the
12.2
total
billion.
fund, yeah, the total fund that flowed through the special accounts created was $12.4 billion. And out of that, 12.2 was spent and nobody knows where the money went.
That's during Babangida's presidency. Now, my question is this: where did he keep all this money? Is it in
But he has
Nigerian bank or
no,
outside?
no, they don't keep those monies in Nigeria. That's the funny thing. The Americans, they say that and I like how American system works, right? It's developed, it's the justice system, everything is cool, and they are they are they do things the right way, they follow the script and all that. And then they have this law that you can't just carry money into your country, especially if you are politically exposed person. That is, you are connected to a politician. Maybe your father is a politician, your wife is a politician, or you yourself a politician. So you can't just bring money into the country. They are going to scrutinize you a lot, right? But then all of these political figures, yeah, they have accounts in the UK, in London. Some of them they have accounts in banks in New York City. And when I say they have accounts with money, I'm not talking about $1 million or $2 million. No, I'm not talking about thousands of dollars. No, they have money in billions, millions of dollars. You will go to these are public officials that you know their salaries. Their salaries are public information. But then they
Mm,
have different accounts. Some of them have accounts in the Cayman Islands, some of them have accounts in Liechtenstein, some in Switzerland. Switzerland that is present in every bad thing in the world here.
yeah.
So that is how they do it. And like again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Babangida, well, we just know that it was during his time that Nigeria took this $2.4 billion loan from the IMF with conditions that he was going to devalue the naira, he was going to scrap Nigerian subsidy programs, he was going to open Nigerian gates to foreign trade. These were the conditions attached to the loan, just 2.4
Mm,
billion. And then when he threw the debate to the nation, people said no. Nigerians said they didn't want Nigeria to take another loan. Nigerians refused. He was doing this sort of uh, openness. He was a democratic kind of dictator. He opened the conversation to the public so that people would think they were making a decision themselves. They said no, right? But then he said, okay, that if Nigerians were saying no, he was going to, do as Nigerians said. Guess
mm-hmm.
what?
What?
He went around, he went around and then introduced something that since we're not going to take loans again, he was introducing something to help the economy and then he called it the structural adjustment program. Now, this structural adjustment program contains every single condition the public rejected. That is the devaluation, the subsidy cuts, and then there is the the magic word trade liberalization.
Uh,
And then at the time IBB came into power, 1 naira was worth more than the dollar. It would take you more dollar to buy a naira.
oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, you can do your research and check. By the time he left,
Wow.
I think the devaluation was so terrible that the naira lost. I think by the time he was leaving, it would take like 17 naira to buy $1. Okay, let me
Damn.
let me put this in perspective now. When Tinubu came into power, the naira was 400 naira to $1, and then he took it to like 1,600. Now we are back dancing around 1,400 naira to the dollar,
Yeah.
right? IBB took the naira from I think 0.56 naira to the dollar to 17 naira to the dollar.
17 times worse.
Mhm. I'm not making this thing up. In fact, the good thing is I was born in 1994. So IBB's time, his entire presidency was before I was born. So I couldn't have made these figures up. Everything is documented. Public knowledge. Public knowledge.
Now, Jude,
So
wait. Now, okay, go on. You on a roll. Go on, go on.
no, continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you, man, like, so you mean to tell me that other presidents after him, most have followed that same trajectory of corruption, of running the economy in a very careless, so to speak, careless way? Is that why people may be confused and they say, oh, maybe Tinubu and Buhari, those two are worse than Babangida? And you think that maybe people can't be able to trace back the foundation of the problem in Nigeria? You think maybe that's why they can't say that IBB is the worst?
Well, before IBB was Buhari, right? And I remember quite well that the loan that IBB took from the IMF, Buhari rejected it. In fact, he rejected it that the economy was crumbling. He knew he knew the repercussion. He knew what was going to happen, right? And through
Mm-hmm.
it all, he said no. He maintained the no. That was Buhari before IBB.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
from IBB, just check through Nigeria. After IBB, the only president who was not seeking and looking for loans was Abacha, sir.
Ah, really? Wow. I was
Yeah,
telling, Jude, I was telling a Nigerian that, as Kenyans, we hear a lot of horror stories about Abacha.
mhm.
So, especially the Kensarowiwa story. Actually, that story, the Kensarowiwa story, really broke my heart when I read about it and when I watched documentaries about it. And
Mhm.
so, but for me, I didn't, and till this day, I haven't looked at the economic contributions that he made to Nigeria. I did. All I know is that, this guy did ABCD to some people, including Ken Saro-Wiwa, human rights, whatever stories. Stop me if I'm wrong, by the way. And one thing, when David, we were talking with David, I was telling him all those things, and he said, "Yo, Abacha you." He told me you don't know Babangida, and I was like, "Wow!" And you are saying the same damn thing, uh,
You
David
just
Hunde
you
told
just
me.
you just need
Yeah.
to read the classified documents. It's plain, everything is public knowledge. Abacha didn't take any loans from the IMF, not one.
Wow.
E- Every other president from IBB, every other president needed loans to survive. Abacha said no. So now the two presidents Nigeria have had are Murtala Muhammed, that was killed 200, was it? He spent just 200 days in power. He was killed days after giving the US the middle finger, right? He was
Mm,
the president that went to the African Union and told the West that Africa has come of age and that they were no longer going to take instructions from the Americans. He gave that speech and then they killed him days later. He was killed on the
wow.
street. I'm
Yeah.
telling you
Yeah.
this, the president of Nigeria was killed in road traffic and the day went on like a normal day. You get the picture. So we had Murtala Mohammed, and my problem with some people is that they are not able to separate things, right? I am saying this doesn't mean that I support everything about Murtala Mohammed, and that is the aspect of critical thinking I keep talking about, right?
Mm,
I can say today that Abacha didn't borrow money from the IMF, but it doesn't mean I am saying that Abacha was not cruel. These are two different things, right? I try to tell
yes.
people since we are not a machine, it is not zero and one. It is not black or white. Especially in
Mm,
geopolitics, there are gray areas. People do certain things. The same Murtala Mohammed that I'm telling you gave the middle finger to the Americans and he ended up being killed in road traffic. He led one of the massacres that happened during the Civil War. I can say these two things because two facts can coexist. But
mhm.
I find it difficult that my fellow countrymen don't want to accept that two things can happen. Like, it's either he's a good man or he's a bad man, right? But this same
Mhm.
person did both things. He can be a terrible human being and then be a good leader based on the
Yeah.
records that we've had.
Mhm.
So if we have had better leaders, I wouldn't call him a good leader. Do you understand? But based on the
Yeah.
things he did, the trajectory was taking Nigeria on. In fact, go through the entire record. In 200 days, Murtala Muhammed did more for Nigeria than Muhammadu Buhari in 8 years. Quote me anywhere.
Wow.
200 days.
Wow.
200,
Mm.
200 days. And then
Now, go on,
the
go on.
next,
Sorry, go on.
the next proactive president was Abacha. And you saw how he died. Now, here is one mysterious thing from the Abacha death. Yeah. The first media outlets that reported Abacha's death were foreign.
Yes. He died in a very interesting way, right? Like,
Now,
you know,
yes,
yeah.
he died in an interesting way, yes, but local media didn't break the news.
Oh.
Ask anybody that knows the story. Local media didn't break the news. The news of his death came from outside Nigeria. When
Mhm.
Abacha died, there was a certain person, a certain very interesting character that was flying at the time in his plane, and he was already speaking to the committee in Nigeria that was deliberating on who should succeed Abacha. Should I tell you his name?
Who?
Gilbert Chagari.
Uh-huh.
Guess who is in business with?
Who?
Bola Tinubu.
Okay. Okay.
Very close, actually.
Wow.
Very close. Wait,
What happened? What
do you,
happened?
do you let me paint a pretty good picture for you. Now, Abacha was a brutal dictator. Yeah.
Mhm.
The Americans wanted him gone, either dead or removed from office. They don't care. They just wanted him gone. Right?
Yeah.
Such a leader that is hated in the West. He sent during his time, Nigeria was like the force in Africa. So if there is any war in Africa, Nigeria sends soldiers. You know how America is policing the world. Nigeria was basically policing Africa. The Liberia situation you heard about, Nigerian
Mm.
soldiers. Nigerian soldiers saved Sierra Leone and Liberia. That is
Oh.
the same military that is struggling to fight this ragtag militia in the bush with slippers. That military fought the war in Liberia. Do you know the let me tell you what happened in Liberia. The Americans refused to send forces there because they didn't want to lose men.
Mhm.
The war in Liberia is one of the most brutal civil wars. People's hands
Oof.
were chopped. The these guys, so what's that his name again? Charles Taylor. They
That's
were doing
it.
incantations. They were eating human flesh. They
Yes.
do this in
Yes.
front of their opponents to scare them. That is, they cut off human beings and eat them to scare their opponents. That was the army Nigerians fought. The Nigerian military fought.
Mm.
Do you understand? And that was
I
not
do.
all. The Sierra Leone side of the war as well. You get. So
Wow.
when you hear of blood diamonds, the Sierra Leone blood diamonds, Nigerian soldiers brought that trade to an end. But if you watch the Hollywood movies they would do about it, you will not see the glory going to Nigerians. Guess which of the dictator brought those evil people to their knees? Abacha, right? So this is a very hated figure. So tell me, do you think this same Abacha is going to go around sleeping with just about anybody and then
Well,
okay,
well, let me tell you, the first time I heard about the story, it was crazy. I was like, you mean this guy, this strong whatever leader that cruel, ruthless, whatever you people call this guy, this is how he died. It didn't add up to me. But I
Then
said, okay,
the ladies poisoned him. There was no
yeah.
security to check them. Do you mean he didn't taste the okay, there was nobody to taste the apple that eventually killed him? So they said there was a lady that was with him that narrated the story. Where is that lady? So you mean to tell me that the last person that was with the president of the strongest military in West Africa, the last lady that was with the president, the commander in chief of that military, the last lady that saw him alive was allowed to go after that man died? Does it make any sense to
Mm,
you? You know, the story from Abacha was that he was more of a night creature. So he works most time night. And then there is the
mm,
guest house that he uses a lot. So the so many conspiracies you see come from that story of the fact that he works at night. And okay, the last person we know that was officially with him before he died was, I think, the Israeli Prime Minister or something like that, that he went to bid farewell in the airport or
uh-huh.
something. Yeah, I think I can't remember really whether it's the Israelis or yeah, but I think that was the person he was with officially that we know of on record. And at the time, Abacha was being treated, I think he was being treated. Was it? I can't tell for sure again, but I came across the documents that said he was being treated. He wasn't feeling too well, but the person that I think his personal guard. I'm trying to remember the story. You know, it's been a while I did the story. The personal guard
Yeah.
that was with him said nobody was with him at when he died. That he died alone.
Mm,
That nobody was with him when he died. When the doctor got to him and noticed he wasn't responding, that was when the call was placed through to the close guard that rushed in and discovered that the president was no more. Um, from there on, every information they were trying to control the narrative. But I think the mistake that happened at that time, I don't know why, was the autopsy that was not conducted. I think it was the autopsy that was not conducted. And I think I blame the incoming president, the replacement, that is the Abdulsalami, because there is no way I become president and my predecessor just died and I will let whatever killed him slide, except if I have,
yeah.
if I don't want to know, I don't want to say what is on my mind.
Mm.
If you read the reports from the foreign media that started circulating this, they said it was a rumor. It is not a concluded
Oh.
fact to them. They don't even know this to be fact. But you know how storytelling goes, right? The most
Mm.
interesting story is what flies, right?
Yeah.
That is just it with Abacha. I blame Abdulsalami and whoever were in the committee that didn't want to find out how their president died.
Yeah, that was very careless. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
And by the way, so you said the best, according to you,
Mhm.
on how we ran the economy and how we progressed Nigeria economically is Murtala. Now, uh,
Murtala,
uh,
I won't call him my best. I won't say he's my best, but he's up there. He's right up there. Talking about the
who is
president that really had the country at heart.
who is the best according to you? Who is the best that you can say? Okay, he wasn't perfect, but performance wise, this guy is the best performance wise. Good luck, Jonathan. Do you agree?
Yeah. Goodluck was a very. I'm really almost forgetting about Goodluck because of the controversial way he was pushed out of office. Goodluck did very well. But best, uh, I don't know. My main problem with Goodluck Jonathan was the fact that yeah, performance wise. He worked with experts. And that is what it should be, yeah. Especially because we are in a democracy, you don't have that privilege of imposing your will. You have to go through due process and all that. And still, he got things done. He was able to grow the economy to the level he did, working with those experts and actually listening to them. Yeah, not just using them to push his narrative. You understand? So, in that
Mm.
regard, I think Jonathan did very, very well. My only challenge being the way he succumbed. He didn't, um, what's the word for me now? He didn't use the powers of the president.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
he didn't use the powers of the president. You know, um, now I'm just afraid that people are going to misunderstand this thing I'm going to say. But as a president, even in a democracy, you shouldn't allow your country fall to foreign influence. Your sworn duty as the president, the oath he took was to defend the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic, right? Enemies, foreign and domestic, does not mean they will always come with guns. In fact, the most dangerous enemies we're dealing with in Nigerian democracy right now are the ones with microphones,
Mm. Powerful.
right? So
Mm.
when you're dealing with an enemy with the microphone, you have to fight. You have to fight. You don't hide. You don't try to be nice. You look at Donald Trump. I don't like Trump anymore. I used to support Trump. I used to understand that he was fighting against an establishment. But look at what Trump is doing, right? Trump is the president of the the democracy crusaders, right? That is the United States. Look at
Yeah.
what Trump is doing. Huh? Do you think you can use foreign influence to remove Trump? Can you even imagine it? You can't. As the president, you have powers. And when your enemies are not coming with guns, they are not so obvious, but they are still your enemies. Let me see, I'm trying to be so diplomatic with what I'm saying, but let me give you an example. When Goodluck Jonathan was president, there was a rally. During that rally, a casket was made with his picture on it.
Mm.
A casket was made with the picture of the president of Nigeria placed on it and was being paraded on the streets in a rally, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And this happened in a democracy. The president was aware of that rally. He was well aware of it. And then he did nothing. Now, let me ask you, if you are a private citizen, you are not a politician, right? If I make a casket and print your picture and place on it and then send it to your email, you would report me to law enforcement and consider that a threat to your life, wouldn't you?
Yes.
We have freedom of speech in democracies, but you have no right to threaten the life of the president. You shouldn't. If you do that, you're a criminal and you should be treated like a criminal. Also, when the Boko Haram issue got worse, because it didn't start under Jonathan, Boko Haram has been in existence for a long while. It got worse when the deal with the deal with the Niger Delta militants. So you're aware of that. I covered some of those in my Power and Plunder series. The amnesty deal that Yar'Adua signed was going to disarm the militants in the Niger Delta. From there on, Boko Haram sort of started. It's almost like, okay, so you guys are going to pay these people, let's do our own and get paid. Something like that. But these guys didn't just wake up from somewhere with guns. Somebody gave them guns. And then it was pretty obvious that the United States were not happy with Jonathan. Seeing how difficult the war against an insurgency that was threatening to tear the country apart. These guys declared a caliphate in Nigeria. They were not playing around. They had guns. They were killing people. They attacked the UN building. And the US refused to sell him weapons. Blatantly refused. Guess the excuse they gave? That that Nigerian military targets civilians. That Nigerian military targets civilians. And so they refused to sell weapons to them under, I think, the Lehi Act or something. I can't really remember the name. So the Nigerian military were battling with bad equipment against a well coordinated and well equipped military insurgency. And then the opposition out of nowhere, that is the APC that was formed around that same time, they were using this as a campaign against the administration. Insecurity as campaign. People should be locked up. Honestly, people should have been locked up. And then the terrorists, they named one of the opposition candidates as a spokesperson for them, that he should come and speak for them. Somebody is going to be locked up. If I were in Goodluck Jonathan's shoes, a lot of people were going to get locked up. Democracy or not. You know,
so you're saying that.
I'm not
You're saying that
accusing anybody.
Mhm.
You said?
So you're saying he could have been a little bit tougher. That's what you're saying?
Mhm. On issues of security, you don't play around. Because your first duty as president, whether Nigerians like it or not, is to defend Nigeria against enemies, both foreign and domestic. So if certain Nigerians want to be the domestic enemies, treat them as such. It is your duty as the president, right? That is my problem. Nigeria would be better off, and I know this because a lot more people have died. Jonathan is a good man. Yeah. In fact, that became his undoing because his opponents know already that this is a weakness. They know that they can get away with this. So they keep pushing him, pushing him, pushing him. People were making videos, making mockery of him. In fact, he's the last Nigerian president that was mocked publicly in that fashion. Yes, this is a democracy. People should have the right to air out their views, especially when they are angry with the way the government is going. In fact, that is what we advocate for. People should be able to voice out concerns. People should be able to debate policies, talk about these things. But threatening the president's life? No. Nobody should have the right to do that. Nobody should have the right to use the death of civilians as campaign. Nobody should do that. Nobody should
So
weaponize insecurity against the government. And I'm saying this knowing who is even in power right now, right? When we criticize insecurity in the country currently, I'm not using it to campaign against Tinubu. No, that would be terrible. But I am using it to say that Tinubu is not even doing enough to stop it. And it is obvious. Those sort of debates should be had. If the president is not making enough, if he's not making enough effort to stop this thing, if they are not being decisive, you can say that. But to sort of play politics with people's lives, do you know for a fact that during the kidnapping of the Chibok girls that escalated the whole bring back our girls that sent Jonathan out of
Yeah,
office,
yeah.
that's cool. I think there was a warning before that attack. There was a warning. So who the hell allows children to go to school for an exam when there is a security risk in that place? Who does that? That person should be in jail.
Mm,
That person should be in jail, be the governor or whatever. If you are the governor of Borno State when that thing happened in Borno State under your watch and there was a warning and it happened, you are going to be in jail the next morning. If I were the president, you are going to jail the next morning. Until those children are found, you will remain in jail. I mean it. You shouldn't play politics with people's lives, especially civilians. Soldiers decamped. That is, some Nigerian soldiers left the field. They stopped fighting because they had no weapons. They had no arms. They had no ammunition. They ran out of bullets. There were videos. Soldiers couldn't fight Boko Haram because those Boko Haram came with more superior firepower. How did they get it? Nigeria has
mm,
borders. Nigeria has borders. Nigeria has custom services that should patrol our borders. Their first mission is to safeguard the border of Nigeria. The number one person I'm arresting is the man in charge of customs. How did those weapons get into Nigeria? You will explain to the entire country. Do you understand?
I
So
understand.
this is not this is not me saying that the president should use excessive force for no reason. No, you use that force to defend your oath to protect Nigeria against both foreign and domestic enemies, especially when those enemies are not coming with guns. That is when they are more dangerous. Narrative is very important. Jonathan didn't use a lot of it. That is my whole grievance. I'm very angry saying these things because I knew the trajectory Nigeria was on. But look at us now. Jonathan said he considered the election because he knew Obama was against him. Yes, Obama said that. But he gave a press briefing before the Nigerian election advising Nigerians to vote on their next chapter. That is that is
Mm,
pure campaign stuff out there.
yeah.
If I were the president of Nigeria, if I had seen that clip before the election, that election is not holding. You can call me
Mm,
dictator, whatever. The election is not holding. And if the Americans declare war on Nigeria to remove the sitting president, then we will see. Everybody will see it. Do you understand? Because make it make sense to me that the president of the United States is sending delegates to Nigeria before Nigerian election, and the delegates are meeting with the opposition, and then the same president is coming to make such statements before the most crucial election in the country's history. That election will not happen, sir. Do you know what happened in the United States during the 2016 election after Donald Trump won Hillary Clinton? The Russian collusion story ran for, I think, nearly 2, 3 years, and the Americans were so passionate about it, how Russians had infiltrated their electoral system. They complained. CNN ran segments on collusion every single day for the next 2, 3 years until Mueller gave his report, right? The same United States of America's president was out giving statement that influenced Nigeria's election. Is that not election interference? Is that not? So practically, I think that alone is what makes Jonathan rank low for me. I till now I don't know if I have forgiven him for surrendering Nigerians to these militants called APC, because honestly that's what it is.
Wow, wow, beautiful. Wow, those are really tough insights, by the way. And before we go to Dangote, I need us to play a short game. So I have
Okay.
names. I have names of former Nigerian presidents. I need you to
Okay.
just say what you think about them, what you think about them, or how you can describe them in one sentence, just one sentence. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Uh, let's start with the beginning. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Consequential.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I say this because I say this because when I read about Nnamdi Azikiwe, the way um the way I feel about him is just there, just indifferent. And part of the reason is because of what happened after the first coup, right? You know, a lot has gone wrong with the country, and he was part of the first people that enabled. Let me use that word for lack of a better word. Um, that enabled it. Yeah, let me use that word. Enabled. I'll just stop there because I'm still thinking maybe we may do an episode on him. So I don't want people
Mm,
to like prejudge that episode based on what I see about him now. Do you understand?
I get you. So,
Uh,
the word is inconsequential. That's it. Really. Okay.
to me,
You know, to you. Okay. 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 Yakubu Gowon.
uh, Yakubu Gowon should never have happened. He Yakubu Gowon, he failed Nigeria. That's what I think about him. Especially with the Aburi Accords. Um,
Mm,
especially with the Aburi Accords, he failed Nigerians. There was a lot of hope after his um, the Aburi Accords had fallen through. The war has happened. Um, the Biafrans had lost the war. He had the opportunity to unite the country. Yeah, the opportunity was
mm.
there. The country was making a lot of money, but then I don't know. I should reserve clueless for another person. I don't know what happened to him, but I think he was sort of a puppet, right? He was never in control. Um, there was no moment where he actually, I would, whether he was really in charge. I don't know if he knew he was the president. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
somebody who was handling him. That's what I can say. Somebody was making the decisions for him to come, and he was just a mouthpiece.
Okay. Are you gonna say who was behind him on this episode?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No problem. No
Yeah,
problem. Okay. Okay. I know we spoke about him, but just say it in one sentence. Murtala Muhammad.
brilliant, brilliant. He would have changed Nigeria. He's a
Okay.
very
Good.
he did very well. Yeah.
Good. Olusegun Obasanjo.
Hmm. The divisive figure. Not here, not there. He's just he, mm, he splits opinion a lot. I can say that he was during the presidency. That is not the military era now. Under his civilian rule, he handled some situations the way I think I would have done, like the the situation with the massacre of some Nigerian soldiers that led to the Nigerian soldiers going to the village to massacre some people. What the soldiers did was terrible, but the the community had no right to lay a hand on any uniform man, right? Anybody wearing the Nigerian camouflage that fights for the Nigerian flag. If you kill any of them, the entire community will be in trouble if they don't produce the people that killed them. So I think in that regard, um, killing innocent civilians is something I don't agree with, but the community, the way he handled the situation, I think it's we should give him some credit to say that you can't totally blame him because there was no better way. I don't know. I'm trying to be careful here. Oh. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand with me.
So he's
I'm trying to be
neither.
careful.
So yeah. So for him, he's on the fence. Like you're on
He's
the fence with him.
divisive figure. Yes, a divisive figure. It's not here. It's not there. He worked with these foreign people. Like when we talk about foreign interference, and then talking about um, trying colluding with the Western governments against us when some of the policies they are proposing is not good enough. He accepted some of them, and sometimes he stood for Nigeria. He defended Nigeria well. He represented us well, right? So that's why I'm kind of saying it's here and there. You understand?
Okay, no problem. Shehu Shagari.
Well, Shehu Shagari is an honest man, right? But I think maybe he
Hmm.
had no business in politics because I don't understand why you should allow somebody that wasn't elected ruin your government. That is
Who's
Umaru
that?
Diko. Umaru Diko.
Uh huh.
Yeah. He was one of the figures that made the presidency of Shagari collapse into corruption and blah blah blah. But Shagari allowed most of those things to happen. So he's sort of a weak president that didn't know about the powers of the president. So I'll call him maybe weak. Mm.
Okay. Muhammadu Buhari.
Where's the word clueless?
No, you know what? You know what? Because for him, he was there during military times and during civilian times. So, which presidency was worse? Was it civilian or military? Which one was worse?
Was it civilian? I didn't experience the military, so everything I know about his military time was things I read about. But the civilian, I lived through it. It was terrible. He's clueless. He's wicked. He has no care for the Nigerians he claimed to lead or rule over. Uh, he's a dictator, a terrible one. He doesn't care about the rule of law, and above all, he's clueless again. And then he has no reason to be close to power, and again, he's clueless.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah,
So I think the keyword is clueless for Buhari.
clueless,
Okay.
very clueless. Yeah.
IBB Ibrahim Babangida. I know we talked about him, but summarize him in one sentence. In
I
one
cannot
sentence.
summarize. I cannot summarize IBB. I hate that one. He ruined Nigeria.
Wow.
He ruined Nigeria. Yeah, I'll call him. the smiling dictator that ruined Nigeria. That's what I think.
Sani
A
Abacha.
rat. Back to IBB. You know how you've experienced how rats is biting you and breathing on you, so you don't know.
Mm, 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 mm.
That's what I'll classify his experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And the fact that you and David have said the same thing, it says a lot about this guy. Says a
I
lot
think
about
I'll
this
go and
guy.
check. I'll go and check the episode of David about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he killed it. Okay, Sani Abacha. I know we spoke about him, but summarize him in one sentence.
Mm. Sani Abacha is an interesting figure. That's the word I would say. He's an interesting figure. He's a patriot, um, but then a little bit cruel, uh, and then also with an element of corruption. Yeah.
Hmm. Abdulsalami Abubakar.
Ah, the deal maker. They built the he I think he was the one that built the foundation, the wrong foundation of Nigeria's current problems. He laid the foundations for the problems we are witnessing in the Fourth Republic. Evidence
Wow.
of that thing I'm talking about is the 1999 Constitution.
Hmm.
Yep.
And you're saying that he's a foundation?
Yeah, he made it possible. He made it happen. Um, Firstly, is being the president in power when the 1 year transition, and this may sound blowing to you. During Abdulsalami's time, that 1 year period, there were some Nigerian soldiers that were fighting a war. I think that should be in Sierra Leone or so. So there was this particular amount of money that was quoted to buy them head gear. This thing soldiers wear to
Mm.
war to I don't know the name. Is it a helmet for bullets that
Yes.
shouldn't hit
Yeah.
them and all that? So there was this amount that was quoted for it alongside with raincoats for them. Guess what they bought for those soldiers? They bought them motorcycle helmets.
Oh, come on. What?
Mhm, mhm. To wear to war front. That's to wear in war, facing bullets. And then
Come on.
they quoted, was it how many $1,000 for raincoats? So I don't know. I don't know the deals that made the Fourth Republic possible, but I very much know who was in power when those deals were signed, and it's Abdulsalami. He was the president that was least investigated.
So deal maker. Deal maker is the best way to describe him.
Yep.
Mm. Umaru Yar'Adua.
The unlucky one. He would have
Ah,
been one of our best presidents. But then again, he was so honest. He wanted to do things differently. But again, he had a health condition that was used to, you know, get rid of him.
really? You wanna go a bit further on that? Because that's interesting.
That's interesting with no evidence, so I can't even go further. But the thing is,
Okay.
it's quite interesting how the sickness progressed. It's also quite interesting how it was handled. He didn't just fall ill after becoming president. You know that, and
Mm.
we all know that the health was becoming challenging even during the campaigns. but so many things were wrong with the way his situation was handled, and there were so many interested parties in what was happening in Nigeria, especially after Obasanjo. So I think Yar'Adua was a victim of a lot of that.
Performance wise, how did he do?
He did very well. He started very well, and he was even going to do better. Um, when Obasanjo left, there were a lot of things wrong with Nigeria, especially in the corruption side of things. And the way Yar'Adua was elected was quite funny. The election was rigged so much so that even he admitted it during his inaugural speech that his election was rigged.
What? Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and admitting that his government was going to do a lot to fix it. Um, so the foundation he was laying was actually taking Nigeria somewhere, but we have this problem of continuity. Do you understand? I think
Mm,
there's a president will start something and then somebody else will come and undo what he started, right? And then they
mm,
start their own, and before you know, another person come and undo what. So, but Yar'Adua, I think, was laying good foundations that would have taken Nigeria um, to good enough heights. And we saw what happened under Goodluck Jonathan. Even though Yar'Adua spent just 3 years in office, I believe he laid some of the foundations that Goodluck came and built on.
mm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, the next guy is Goodluck. Some I know
Yeah,
you talked about him. Just summarize him in one sentence.
a good man, a good man, and um, a, a president that has the good of the nation at heart.
And then, of course, the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Uh, just one
Hmm.
sentence. Just one. Just one sentence. Then we go to Dangote. Then we close. But just one sentence about. Okay, one word. One word. One word.
is the dictator in chief, the godfather.
Say less. Say less. Well,
Yeah.